Let's see. Good. I mean, these days they start to overlap a little bit. You just got to get some basic fundamentals going, and it's about PFP, laying different concepts, having different meetings um, with different departments, just to make sure that everybody understands what's happening. We define things around here. We just don't expect everybody to know what to do. So we spend these early days of camp really defining what some of our um, ideas are and some of our standards are. So there's no misinterpretation. So we're just grinding away at that for right now, and it mostly translates into very tedious types of work that you guys are watching. It gets kind of boring for you guys, I know, but it's really important for us.
Do you see Jace Peterson getting any reps at shortstop, or do you expect it to be more like last year third base, second base?
It's a very good question. We're coming up with some of those game plans right now, and out of fairness to him, I'm going to wait to have that discussion with him before I say yes or no. You could probably figure out the answer there, because I could tell you no easily. But we're looking at our backup shortstop position. That is undefined right now. We got to figure out who that's going to be. So it's a high priority through the course of the spring training.
What would it being able to play short? That do that free up the position?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a couple of candidates that we're talking about right now, and they're all internal. They're all on this roster, and the backup shortstop for me just needs to pick up the baseball and make a play. Be the captain of the defense. I look at the shortstop as somebody that needs to be able to articulate what's going on and take control in different situations. So, yeah, that type of player would free up another spot for us for sure.
Would you need to be convinced or see things from Perdomo against left-handers instead of maybe have backup being that
Um,
type of guy?
yeah, I'll just speak about Perdomo, and then you guys can kind of put it together from there. Perdomo is going to be our starting shortstop. He's earned that. He's earned that right. I know that he's worked very hard on his right-handed swing. So whether it's a left-handed backup or a right-handed backup is undefined right now. I want to see what Jerry looks like coming into camp, and he deserves the opportunity to show me that he's able to handle a full workload as an everyday shortstop. So what does that number mean? 130 plus, 140 plus? I don't know, but that's going to be my starting point. He's a great player, a really good player that's growing. He's a great shortstop that's growing and learning offensively. So I want to give him that opportunity to show me, and then we'll fill in the gaps from there.
Probably already been asked this, so apologies if so, but Eduardo Rodriguez, what are your first impressions of him, and how do you feel like he's fitting with the team so far?
Yeah, everything that I remember from the days where we were together in Boston. A very hungry player, a very eager player, somebody that wants to learn and grow, ask questions, accepting of coaching, and I think he has a very competitive mean streak in him that shows up every fifth day. So we haven't seen that yet, but that's what I remember, and I'm really excited that he's here. He chose us. He had an opportunity to go in a lot of different directions, but the fact that he chose us means a lot to me.
But you don't know where yet in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, early on, probably right in the middle of the first two righties, but we'll figure that out. We got to see how the opposing teams that we're facing are lining up, stacking up lineup wise. I mean, every team, there's moving parts with them right now, so we got to figure out as the rosters start to get a little bit more defined for the teams that we're going to be playing. We'll start to figure out where that slices, how that slices.
Back to shortstop.
Yeah.
What are you looking to see from Jordan?
A lot of what we saw last year: athleticism, his ability to play on both sides of the baseball, and just not try and do too much and drive the baseball to the ballpark. Just control the zone, control the at bats, understand what the at bat's asking for, and just be himself. He's a fantastic player that has an unbelievable future in this game. All right.
What are the expectations on the team this year?
Mhm.
Is it what happened last year?
Hmm.
Is how do you get your players not to use that to embrace it rather than use it as a burden?
Yeah. We're going to talk about a standard rather than expectation. I think that's a good way to avoid that because expectations can become burdensome. You know, you look at them, you set them up, and then you start to achieve something that may or may not be attainable, and it might create a limitation. So I'm going to talk about a standard. We have raised the bar here considerably over the past 2 years. Last year we went to the World Series, and we're very proud of that. So yes, there are some achievements, but we are going to strive to get to that standard every single day and continue to raise that bar. I feel like that creates a ceiling that is unknown and something that you can continually strive for that's really unachievable, that'll lead you to some really special moments.
After everything you accomplished last year, what is it better version, or what's an improved version of Torey Lovullo that he's had a year under his belt?
Yeah, I mean he's a rookie of the year. He had a bunch of wonderful moments for us. I think consistency. To think that he was going to do what he did for the first 2.5 months of the season for an entire year would have been hard to achieve. You know, I think he was on an unbelievable pace. I mean, you looked up there and you're projecting his numbers. He's going to have 60 home runs and 125 RBIs, right? Do I think he's capable of doing that? Of course. But I want him to take things in stride. I don't want him to try to be any better than he was last year and just have the same consistent type of approach and process and see where that takes him. Yes, there are things inside of his game that he can get better at. I know, we've always talked about the minutia, the small parts of his game, the left on left, the bunting. He seemed to, last year we talked about that. He improved during the 23 season. So I know that that's a goal of his to continue to grow and learn in those areas as well.
Any surprises so far in the bullpens and side sessions you've been watching? Anybody that stood out that kind of a little bit more than you were expecting them to so far?
Yeah, I don't want to target any one guy because I think I do have a couple in mind, but let me see that for a few more days, and I can probably give you those names. But I will say overall, the summary of what I'm seeing is a lot of velocity, and I said that last year, and it's probably spiked up a little bit more from last year. So, it was 92, 93 plus last year. Now it's 95, 97, up to 100 plus that I'm watching in some of our bullpens. So, some really hot arms. I just want to see that translate into strikes, pitchability, and consistency.
A lot of guys talked about not really shutting down,
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting back into a light throwing program 10 or 15 days after
Yeah.
the season was over, and then that ramp up then making it easy. Do you think that plays
Yeah.
into the extra velo you see?
100%. I'm not going to say the extra velo because, there's some of the young new arms or some of the younger kids from the system that are showing up like that. But the conversations that I've been having with these guys is that guys such as Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, that without shutting down and maintaining that range of motion, they feel fantastic. And I think that's something that we're going to continue to examine and perfect. The old days, you'd shut down for 3 months and not pick up a baseball until mid-January. I think baseball's made some adjustments and improved from that. So we got to find out what works, and I think this is a good start for us.
What are your early impressions of Tucker Barnhart, kind of his work with pitchers and whatnot?
Yeah. Very, very comfortable, forming relationships, having conversations, showing some leadership behind the plate, taking control of each situation inside of the bullpen. Hard to do. You're still trying to just receive the ball and get your own coordinates down, but he is doing a great job of being himself, getting to know his teammates, and then going out and getting himself into shape. But I love the demeanor. I love the fact that he's comfortable having any type of conversation with a player, staff member, or the manager. It means a lot to me.